You know that feeling, right?
Right.
When you or
Yeah.
someone you love gets really serious health news, it just stops everything.
Yeah. Everything just freezes for a moment. It's a shock.
Totally. And today, we're diving into a story that's been quite public. Michael Bolton's, actually. It really brings that feeling home, but maybe offers some insights, too.
Yeah, it's a powerful example. He recently shared his diagnosis with glioblastoma. That's a really aggressive brain cancer.
And it's more than just, a celebrity story. It's about resilience, family, keeping hope alive when things get incredibly tough.
And how facing something like this can fundamentally change your perspective, what you value.
Exactly. So we're drawing from a People cover story and a briefing doc, both from April 30th, 2025. They give a pretty candid look at his journey since the diagnosis back in December 2023.
Right. So our goal here is to kind of unpack that. Look at
Okay.
his strength, his family's role, his mindset.
And how he's adapting, thinking about his legacy. Hopefully give some perspective for anyone facing, well, anything difficult, really.
Okay, so where do we start? The diagnosis itself.
Yeah, let's start there. So December 2023, he gets the news, and things move fast. Emergency brain surgery on December 4th.
To remove the tumor. And what's really quite remarkable, surgically speaking, is that they got all of it.
They did. That sounds significant.
Oh, it is. Dr. Ingo Mellinghoff mentioned, that only happens in maybe 30 to 40% of glioblastoma cases.
Wow. Why is that?
Well, these tumors, they can be infiltrative, meaning they kind of weave into the surrounding brain tissue, makes getting clear margins really challenging for surgeons. So getting a complete resection, that was a very positive early step.
That's a good one. And then his daughter, Holly, she said he was singing, like right after the surgery in the hospital room.
Yeah, I saw that quote.
Yeah,
It paints such a picture of his spirit, doesn't it? His way of coping, maybe.
absolutely speaks volumes. But it wasn't all smooth sailing right after that, was it?
No, unfortunately not. There was a complication, an infection, which led to a second surgery in January 2024.
Right. So that initial period was clearly very intense, a real battle from the get-go.
Definitely. It underscores that recovery and treatment are often, a process with ups and downs, not just one single event.
So after the surgeries, what came next, treatment-wise?
He went through radiation and chemotherapy, finishing that course in October 2024.
Okay. And now?
Now it's about monitoring. Very careful, regular monitoring, MRIs every 2 months.
Every 2 months. That sounds frequent.
It is, and necessarily so. Glioblastoma has a really high rate of recurrence. The Glioblastoma Foundation puts it at around 90%.
90%. Wow, that's a tough statistic to live with.
It really is. These cancer cells are aggressive, they can spread, so that constant vigilance, those regular scans, they're crucial for catching anything early if it does come back. It's standard practice in oncology for this type of cancer.
Makes sense. It's an ongoing fight then. But there was some good news recently.
Yes, definitely encouraging news. His scan in early April 2025, the most recent one mentioned, came back clear.
Oh, that's fantastic. A moment of relief, I imagine.
Absolutely. A positive sign in a long journey.
Now, the illness itself and the treatments, well, they've had an impact, right? The sources mentioned some effects.
Yes, impacts on short-term memory, some speech difficulties, and issues with mobility.
Those sound like pretty significant challenges for anyone, but
Yeah.
especially, for a performer.
They really are. And these aren't uncommon side effects after the kind of treatments he's undergone, brain surgery, radiation, chemo. They can affect various cognitive and physical functions. It's something we often see and help patients manage.
But even with those challenges, he's not just passively accepting it, he's active.
Incredibly so. The reports mention meditation, playing golf.
Golf, wow.
Yeah, and getting back to his roots in a way. Voice lessons, even voice therapy.
That's amazing dedication. Really proactive.
It shows this real determination to maintain his quality of life, to keep doing things he loves. That kind of active engagement can be so beneficial psychologically and physically.
And he's even writing music again.
Yes. And the title he mentioned kind of sums up his whole approach, doesn't it?
Ain't going down without a fight. Yeah, that's powerful.
It really captures that spirit, that refusal to just succumb.
Which brings us to his mindset. He had this quote, something like, "You're reaching into your resources and your resolve."
In a way that you never would have thought, succumbing to the challenge is not an option.
Yep.
It's pure determination.
Finding strength you didn't know you had.
Exactly. That inner reserve, that adversity sometimes forces us to tap into.
He also called it a duel, like you find out what you're made of.
That's a great metaphor. It's not passive suffering, it's active confrontation, facing it head on.
And one really interesting thing, he chose not to get a prognosis.
Yeah, that stood out. He consciously decided he didn't want to hear the statistics, the likely timeline.
Why do you think someone makes that choice? From a maybe psychological or even medical standpoint?
Well, for some patients, focusing on statistics can increase anxiety. Choosing not to know allows them to focus on the present, on hope, on fighting day by day. It's about maintaining control over their emotional state, in a way. It's a very personal choice, but it can be empowering for some.
Right. Staying hopeful. He also talked about being a cheerleader for yourself.
I loved that phrase, that internal encouragement, that positive self-talk.
Yeah.
It's so vital when you're facing something this monumental, advocating for yourself, even to yourself.
Absolutely. And alongside that inner strength, there's another huge factor here, his family.
Oh, absolutely crucial. His three daughters, Isa, Holly, Taryn, and his grandkids, they all live nearby.
From Westport, Connecticut. And they're very involved.
That proximity, that active support network, it's immeasurable. Having family close, providing both practical help and just emotional presence, it makes a world of difference in these situations.
There's that quote from Taryn, his daughter. It was simple, but wow.
It was smart.
In this together, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's that solidarity.
Yeah. That says everything, doesn't it? You're not alone. We're facing this as a unit. That's incredibly powerful for anyone going through a health crisis.
And it's not just the big things, right? They mentioned family trivia nights.
Those moments of normalcy, of connection, doing familiar things together, they can be such an anchor. It grounds everyone, provides comfort amidst the chaos.
Definitely. And this whole experience, it seems to have shifted his perspective. On legacy, maybe?
It really seems so. The focus has shifted less on the career achievements, which are obviously huge, and more towards his daughters, his grandchildren.
Yeah, he talked about wanting to equip them with life lessons, love, any kind of validation. It's about that personal impact now.
It's a very common shift when people confront mortality. What really matters comes into sharp focus relationships, love, the impact you have on the people closest to you. It becomes the core of your legacy.
He's definitely reflecting on time, asking himself, am I doing the best that I can do with my time?
That question takes on a whole new urgency, doesn't it? It's a natural response to a life-threatening diagnosis, reevaluating priorities, wanting to live meaningfully.
And appreciating things more.
Seems that way. A heightened sense of appreciation for life itself. Again, something we often see facing the potential loss of something makes you value it so much more intensely. The everyday moments gain significance.
And finally, he talked about sharing his story, how important that can be.
Yes, he said something like, just to know that you're not alone going through it is a big deal.
It actually helps people to know. It reminds them that they're not alone.
That vulnerability, that willingness to share, it creates connection. It breaks down the isolation that can come with serious illness. It builds a sense of community.
So when you pull back and look at this whole picture, what are the big takeaways for you?
Well, obviously, incredible resilience, the vital, vital role of family support, choosing hope, finding purpose even in the midst of it all.
Yeah, and that shift in perspective, understanding what legacy really means to him now.
And I think it speaks to broader themes,
Right.
how we all navigate challenges, where we find strength. Often it's in connection with others.
Right. How adversity can reshape our understanding of what's truly important.
Absolutely.
It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? Maybe for everyone listening. Consider where you find your own resolve when things get tough, what really matters most to you.
And maybe think about that power of sharing, too, of connection, knowing you're not alone or helping someone else feel less alone. It's a powerful thing.